Hey guys, so today I'm going to talk about parity, twisted corners, and flipped edges. So the order I'm going to go in is first flipped edges, then twisted corners, then parity. I find that flipped edges are like the easiest to learn, then twisted corners, and then parity. And that's just what I think, so that's just how it's going to be. Okay, here we go. Okay, so flipped edges. Wow, those suck. Look how many I have. Okay. So the way I solve most of these is probably with the opposite edge flipping algorithm. So this algorithm goes like this. You put two edges that are opposite just across from each other in a line, and you use this algorithm. So M prime U, M prime U, M prime U, M prime U2, M prime U, M prime U, M prime U, M prime. So again, that's 3 M prime U's in a row. So 1, 2, 3, and then an M prime U2, and then 3 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, not 6. So that was 3, and then 7, and yeah, that's really it. So that's how I would do it if I just had one, probably. So let me quickly solve all of these. So my orientation, is yellow-orange. So let's say I had these two flipped. So what I would do to solve them both at the same time is just rotate. And since I solved them at the end, I can just rotate and not really care about anything else. And just do the algorithm. So again, M prime U, M prime U, M prime U, M prime U2, M prime U, M prime U, M prime U, M prime. Okay, so sometimes if I'm feeling, I don't know how I might feel, but I might actually solve them like this. I might just solve it how like the basic way, which is using M2. So if it's here, I would shoot my piece, my buffer, DF, to here and then to here, because that would flip it. So how that would look is first shooting to here, so that just like that. That's just using M2, and then shooting to here. So back to the opposite edge one. So I usually use that if I have two that are like opposite each other, like here, here maybe. Or I probably will usually use it if the piece is one move away from being set up to be across from my buffer piece. If there's only one flipped edge and it's one move away from being across from this, then I will probably use that algorithm. So if I had it up here maybe, I would probably use the algorithm. I would go like this, set it up there, another opposite. And if it's, yeah, here, 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 if it's here, then I would rotate, do it. So, yeah. And the last thing I might do is, if the two edges that need to be flipped are adjacent, as in diagonally adjacent, like this, this, actually, for this one I usually use what I showed you at first, but maybe this one, then I will use my adjacent edge flipping algorithm. I call it an algorithm because it's really just an OLL and a PLL. So really quickly, what it will look like is this. So my buffer's here, and this one is adjacent and diagonal. So what you do is you put them in the top, front and right here, and then you do this OLL. If you're on Red Cross, this OLL. So what that OLL is R wide prime U, R prime U prime, M U, R U prime R prime, and now it's a U perm. So I would do a U and then my M slash U perm, which is M2 prime U, M U2, M prime U, M2, and then a U prime. So again, that's like this. If they're adjacent, I might go like. So yeah. So if I had like these two, and then instead of like going like this to put them to the opposite alg, I just might do the adjacent alg, which is this U and then a U perm. yeah, and that's pretty much all I do for flipped edges. Now for twisted corners. Okay, so twisted corner is probably a little more complex, maybe a little harder, but they're still really not that hard. So yeah, my buffer is UBL, and when I solve twisted corners, I solve them at the end of solving just the regular corners. So let's say I had a scramble that has a twisted corner like this. So I would go so first I would solve all the regular corners, and now I just have 2 left. So one way of solving it is the, again, basic way with old Pachman this time. So how that works is you first shoot to one sticker, and then you shoot to the other sticker. So in this case, if this one is twisted, I will probably shoot to the F sticker first, and then based on what the F sticker is, it can either be white or blue now. Then I would shoot to that next one. So if I shoot to the front sticker first, then I would shoot to the bottom sticker here. So how I would do that is first set it up to a Y perm, and now since I'm shooting down to here, you could set it up to a J perm. This is just old Pachman. But when I'm actually doing that, for this specific case, I would go first my Y perm, and then since you're setting up to a J perm, you can actually cancel into that. Since the first move of this J perm is an R prime, it's already in that position. So now you can just cancel into that J perm. Without the cancellation, it's like this: R prime U, L prime, U2, R U prime, R prime, U2, R, L, U prime. And now undo the setup move, which was an R2 basically, since you started from here. And yeah. So that's what I will usually do if I have one twisted corner, usually in the bottom layer. So let's say it's here. It might be like this. So I see it's twisted. So I can go set it up to that same case, and now shoot to this piece, which is actually this back piece. Oh yeah, if it's this corner, I would always shoot to the back piece first. I just find it easier, and eventually you'll find a trend and always stick with the same pieces. So after that piece is shooting to this piece. So first shoot to this piece with the R and then a Y perm, and now you're shooting to this piece. So you can do the conjugated Y perm, which is the Y perm, except you don't start from up here, you start from down here. You just forget the first F move because essentially it's already done. And yeah, you just do that Y perm, which is R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R. And undo the setup move, and that's it. So that's what I always do, almost always do, if the twisted corner, I mean, it's just one, usually, hopefully, is in the bottom layer. Okay, so this is what I do if I have one twisted corner, maybe multiple, in the top layer. So one algorithm that I will use a lot is the, I guess, adjacent corner twisting algorithm. So how this algorithm works is it's an anti-soon and then a lefty anti-soon. So it looks like this: R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U prime, R prime, and then a lefty anti-soon. So L prime, U2, L, U, L prime, U, L, and that's it. So again, it's a righty anti-soon, sorry, and then a lefty anti-soon. And one more time. Okay, so let's say this piece is twisted. Or, oops, no, wait. Okay, let's say this one is twisted. Since this is my buffer, I see that this one is twisted. So, I see that this piece needs to be twisted clockwise, but I actually don't think clockwise. I just know that if this piece has a blue sticker on top, then I use the algorithm that I just used. So if this, another way to think of it is if the common sticker between them, which is yellow, is facing, or if they're both like facing in the same direction, then you can also use that algorithm. That's probably how I usually think of it, if these two yellows are facing the same direction. So what you do is you first set it up so they're both right here, and then you do that algorithm. So it's a righty soon, a lefty anti-soon, and now you undo the setup move. Okay, so the same can be applied to this piece. I see it has orange on top, and I see that these two yellows are facing the same way. So again, you just set it up so they're right here and here, and then do that algorithm. Okay, so the inverse algorithm does the same thing, except it flips or twists both corners the opposite direction. So what that will look like is, it's very easy. First of all, you'll notice that the yellow pieces are facing in the opposite direction. So how I would solve this is with a lefty soon, not anti-soon, just a soon, and then a righty soon. So that looks like this: L prime, U prime, L, U prime, L prime, U2, L, and then a righty soon: R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. So yeah, if I had these two twisted, I notice that the yellows are facing opposite. Then I know how to use that algorithm. Another way to notice it is that this green sticker is on top instead of the orange one at first. So I would set it up to here and here again, and then do that algorithm, which is a lefty soon, and then a righty soon, and then undo the setup move. So also one more piece that's on the U layer is this one. So what I usually do is set it up to there, and then go there, and then do the same thing. So I happen to know that if orange is facing on top, then it's still the same setup move either way. But I know that if it's that, then I have to use the anti-soon one. And if blue are facing on top, then it's the other one. And that's pretty much how I do twisted corners. Some special cases might be like this. If I had like two here, I would notice that the whites are facing the same direction. I would rotate and do that algorithm. So that pretty much works for any two pairs of corners. Maybe these two. You would just see which common color is where they're facing. If they're facing away, it's the soon one, and if they're facing the same way, it's the anti-soon one. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do for twisted corners. Now time for parity, my favorite. Okay, now we're on to parity. So parity is when you have an odd number of swaps of corners in both edges. So you can't have an odd number of corner swaps and an even number of edge swaps. It just does not work that way. So if you use letter pairs, you're going to have an odd letter out for both corners and edges, and that's pretty much how you know if you have parity. So if I'm doing this memo, I would memorize edges first. So it would be MN, JR, KG, CD, and then TQ, and then it goes back to P, which is the same piece as the T for me. So solving that, or actually not solving it. So, and if I want to do corners now, it would be KD, XA, F, and then it just ends on F, and then there's two twisted corners right here and here. So yes. So first what I do is I solve the corners like this. Oh wait, I just solved the first edge pair. Oops. Solve the corners. My buffer again is UBL. How should I do this? Wait, what? Oops, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, and then when you're on your last piece to shoot to, which is now here, what I do is I shoot this piece always, or whichever piece is the last piece, to here. So to do that, which this piece is, by the way, is UFL, like that. So I'm gonna end with UBL and UFL swapped. Now I will solve edges. Okay, now I'm on the last piece to shoot to. It's just one piece and it's right here. So just to shoot to this pair, you could either go like that, like the insertion to here would be like that, but sometimes I might do this, wide U, R, U prime, does the same thing. Okay, so this is the common M2 approach, and I will use this probably about 50% of the time usually, but I don't know, around 50%, at least 50%. So once you shoot to the last piece and you already have these two swapped, what you do is U prime F2 U M2 U prime F2 and then U prime, and now it's a J perm. So the J perm I use is the RU R prime F prime one, and RU R prime U prime R prime F R2 U prime R prime, and then you'll always end in a U. So again, if I do the same scramble, I'll just explain it one more time. So first solve corners. So again, this is my last piece to shoot to. So I bring it to there, so it's, these are swapped now, because at first it held the buffer and now these two are swapped. Then I'll solve the edges. Okay, and now I shoot to the last piece. Oh, you shoot to the last piece always with an M2 cycle. So yeah, like you have to use M2, like that's pretty much, yeah, you just have to. And the algorithm again is U prime F2 U M2 U prime F2 U prime RU R prime F prime RU R prime U prime R prime F R2 U prime R prime U. Okay, so I will use that quite often. But another form of parity that I might use is, well, you'll see right now. Okay, so I'll do the same. Actually, I won't do the same scramble. I will be right back. Wow, that was a quick break. Okay, so this is a very easy scramble that it's not really a scramble, I just set it up to be this way. So this is my other parity thing that I might do. So when I solve corners first, so it's here to there, and that just leaves these two swapped, since the last piece the last piece to be shot to is this one, and this one just ends up going to there anyway, so you don't need to do anything after. Okay, so now I'll solve edges. It's here to here, and yes, now we leave it with the last piece. It needs to be onto the U layer, not just the U layer, but the U face. Notice that this bottom piece is yellow. That means you're shooting to the U face, which is also yellow. So instead of shooting to this piece like this and then doing the M2 parity that I just showed you, instead what you can do is shortcut to a T perm, or actually an F perm, so shortcut to a PLL. So how you do this is, if you're shooting to this one, then you go here, you put it in like that. So that's U, M prime, U2, M, for those of us who learn with algorithms better, I guess. But really all you're doing is putting it over here and then inserting it like that. And now you do a U prime, and it's a T perm. And then a U2 at the end. I do my U2 stylized, just because I'm that cool. So it's a T perm, hopefully you know what a T perm is. And then to go like this, then I go like that. So it looks really cool. Okay, what if it was this piece, you might ask? Well, you pretty much do the same thing, except you AUF the different way. Okay, so this piece also needs to go to the U face, and it's instead here. So you do a U prime to put it above here, insert it, and now you do a U, and then it's still a T perm. Okay, this also will work almost the same way if the last piece is just right here. So what you can do is do a U2 to put it there, and now it's actually a F perm, which kind of sucks, but I think it's faster. I haven't actually timed it, but I feel like it's faster than doing the M2 parity alg and then a J perm. So if the last piece is here, you can do a U2, insert it, do another U2, and it's a Unless you can do the F from this angle, but I personally can't. So you put it there, and then you do whichever F you want, and then U2. So the F I used, by the way, was the Felix one, which is an R prime, U prime, F prime, and then T prime. Canceled into this winter variation type thing. But the algorithm is right here, so you can see it anyway. So yeah. And lastly, you can actually do it from here. So that might look like this. Why am I blinking? No, bad. Okay, if the last piece to shoot to is right here, then you can just go like this. It's already there, and now it's already a F perm. You can actually cancel into it, so what I mean by that is, while going like this, then you can just go a R wide prime, and you already did the first move of the F perm, which is an R prime, and yeah. So the last one, actually, sorry I lied, that you can do it from is here. So that might look like this. Wait, no. Yeah. The last piece to shoot to is here. So to flip, to swap these two, make it so F2L is solved, you go M2, U2, M2, and now it's that same F perm. So if you actually like doing the PLLs instead of the parity alg and then a J perm better, then what you can do in any solve really is basically this. So let me check if I have parity. No, I don't. Oops. Okay. So what you can do is first solve the corners. Okay, so the last piece is here, so you have to shoot it to here. And now solve edges. There to there. Wait, no, that's bad. And now here to there. And then there maybe. Then, oops, I don't mess up. Okay. Okay, so if you like doing that better, setting up to a T perm or F perm, then if your last piece isn't on the U layer, then you just make it be. So if I had it here, I would probably go like this, shoot to here, and then to here, that cycle. So that cycle can be done like that. And now the last piece to shoot to is actually here. So you can just go U, F, M prime, U2, F, or M, sorry, and then U prime, and then it's T prime. And yes, that is pretty much all I do for parity, twisted corners, and flipped edges. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments in the comments section. That's what it's there for. And yep, I'll see you all later.